It's no secret by now that this past weekend was Berkshire Hathaway's annual meeting, and one of the things that they did was report their quarterly earnings. This article is coming from CNBC, and the operating earnings increased 12% in the first quarter, and the cash uh, treasures tops 130 billion. That's a lot of money. So earnings for Berkshire Hathaway jumped in the first quarter thanks to rebounding conglomerates insurance business. Profits from insurance underwriting came in at almost $1 billion, up sharply from, wow, it's a lot, from 167 million a year prior. Geico saw a big turnaround in the quarter, returning a big underwriting profit of 700 million. Auto insurer suffered a 1.9 billion pre-tax underwriting loss last year as it lost market share to competitor Progressive. Railroad. So, yeah, Berkshire also owns a railroad. Um, BNSF, along with its energy company, saw year-over-year earnings declines. Operations classified under other controlled business and non-controlled business had a slight increase from a year earlier period. So why did we see a year-over-year earnings decline? Could be energy costs to run the railroads. Could be just a downturn in the economy, less goods that needed to be brought from A to B. Berkshire's cash hoard swelled 230 billion. Wow, 2 billion more from the fourth quarter. Berkshire also repurchased 4.4 billion worth of stock, the most since the first quarter of 2021. So with all this cash, what is Berkshire going to do with it? Obviously they don't see any opportunities in the markets. Otherwise, they would have pulled the trigger, especially in the banking sector, as Berkshire is big on banking stocks, at least once upon a time, because of their dividends. Now he's gotten out of a lot of his banking stocks, but it's still a favorite of his is Bank of America. All right, so Berkshire net earnings, including short-term investment gains, increased to 35 billion in the quarter, 6.6 billion in the same period a year ago, reflecting a first quarter comeback in Buffett's equity investments such as Apple. Now, what helps is that Apple just announced another buyback. I think the tune of 80, 90 billion. The company's latest quarterly results come ahead of so their earnings came prior to the shareholder meeting. Did not realize it was called stock of capitalists in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, I have been following from time to time the meeting and some highlights, more so quotes that were stated that I'll take with me moving forward as the year progresses. Include the following. The majority of our businesses will report lower earnings this year than last year. Makes sense, right? We're heading into a potential recession. Some say we're already in a recession. Some say a recession is inevitable. Some other quotes. Every year, the number of our shares go down. So, if you look at the last, or let's just say this bull market prior to the downturn a couple of years ago, it was all about companies buying back their shares, right? Less shares increases earning power, gives the perception that the company business is sound, and that's kind of why we had a huge bull market in the last 10 years. All right, some other quotes. Can't recall any time in history, Berkshire, that we made an emotional decision. So it's kind of like in trading. Your trading can't be emotional based. It has to be, your decisions in trading have to follow some type of plan. You know, and your emotions should not be a part of your trading, win, lose, or draw. Geico Technology needs a lot more work than I thought it did. Geico is kind of like my parents' insurance company, right? you know, today's younger generation insurance companies. Progressive is one, but Lemonade is another one. Um, you know, they talk about AI. I'm personally skeptical about some of the hype that has gone into artificial intelligence. This is from Munger. I think old-fashioned intelligence works pretty well. um, my advice to value investors is to get used to making less. I think the average return historically of the S&P has been 7%. Some are saying that we may not ever hit the highs again for at least another 5 to 10 years. Some say, expect lower returns than the historical norm of 7% moving forward. The country should be ahead of where it is in terms of energy transmissions. I don't know if you're talking about green energy, but there is a bill to beef up that green initiative in the country that Joe Biden, I guess, got approved. What else we got here? I think the U.S. is capable of doing remarkable things, and it wouldn't surprise me if we did it again. Buffett says investing is not about knowing the future, but understanding businesses. He said back when I started, other people were going through Playboys, and I was going through Moody's. Everything that increases tension between the U.S. and China is stupid. This was Charlie Munger. Some leaders who promise you too much can get you in a hell of a lot of trouble. The world has stumbled through years post 1945 with a lot of close calls. Buffett on Taiwan Semiconductor. I feel better about the capital that we have got deployed in Japan than Taiwan. I wish it weren't so, but that's reality. There's a lot of tension. There's reports going back a year ago. China's going to invade Taiwan and take over Taiwan. U.S. says it's going to back Taiwan. So it can get messy. What else we got here? Buffett on buybacks. It can be the dumbest thing you can do, and it can be the smartest thing you can do. Depends on the current price of the company. All right, so let's get into now. There are Berkshire Hathaway A shares and B shares. B shares are for the poor man. A shares is for the well-off. So we're going to start with the monthly chart, and if this was a football field, one end zone is going to be at 360. Another end zone is going to be at 260, just marking off the lows and the highs. And I'm going to say price is currently probably at the 40-yard line, right? You can see that since breaking out in 2020, price has kind of been consolidating, but the momentum is to the upside as price has been making higher highs and higher lows. You can somewhat see that on the weekly chart by just looking at the moving averages. We did a crossover of the 13 and 26 simple moving average back in November of 2022. You can call this a bull flag if you want. Right, here's the pole. Now the past week, you do have buyers stepping in, supporting the 320 level, indicated by these 2 wicks here on the weekly chart. We do have a gap fill that hasn't been filled yet at the 336 level. Okay. You could also see that this was a pivot high and where the price stopped going down, started going up, right where the pivot high was at the 320 level. So now let's just go down to the daily chart. Let's see. Well, we have some consolidation right here. Just want to see to the left. Yeah, it's hard to read where price is heading next. But my bias is to the upside based on the weekly bull flag, based on moving averages starting to point up, based on this level being supported. Just trying to see. Yeah, I really don't have a read at the moment. Conservatively, you need to wait until you see a weekly candle closing above or below this range here of 320 to say 330ish. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Please like the video.